Hello neighbors, it's Brad here from eTrailer, and today I have Jeff from Roadmaster, and we're going to be taking a look at something that a lot of people don't think about on their campers, and that's, well, suspension. And a lot of times people buy a camper and they go, well, it is what it is, that's the ride that we're going to get, and that's not necessarily the case, correct?
Absolutely. You can always turn around and increase the customer's ride on their fifth wheel or their travel trailer by just doing a simple modification and changing it out to slipper springs. There are several products that you can look at as well.
So a slipper spring, for those of you that don't know, what exactly is that compared to a normal just leaf spring?
So normal leaf spring, what you have is an equalizer that's in between. It's connected with links. So typically what happens is as the energy is being absorbed by one wheel, it's actually being transferred into the other axle and so on and so forth. So you get a lot of unnecessary movement back and forth, up and down, out and outward as well. But what we're primarily doing is trying to reduce all the shock that's going into the trailer.
So is that leaf spring as a slipper, it becomes almost floating in a sense, correct?
Correct. So basically what it does, picture that we have here is my unit after I did the install. So typically what we do is we remove the equalizer, we mount our slipper spring box, and then what happens is we have our slipper spring that goes into the box, and as your wheel hits a bump, the spring actually slides in and out of the slipper spring box.
So does that, with the slipper spring, does that keep the axles a little bit more in line than a traditional leaf spring?
Yes, it does. So whenever you hit a bump, what you're going to notice is we have some slow motion video as well. But when we hit a bump, you'll actually notice that the axle's moving vertically instead of horizontally also.
As the way suspension should be.
Correct.
So without a slipper spring or just normal suspension, you have a story with your own trailer, not that many miles on it, and maybe some issues with bushings?
Yeah, so basically what happened here is you're looking at my newer fifth wheel that I have. I recently talked to one of my dealers that was up in Northern California. He said, hey, did you turn around and put your system on yet? I said, no, not yet. It's actually in my garage. I haven't put it on yet. He's like, well, what are you waiting for? I was like, well, just been really busy. Haven't had the opportunity to do it yet. He's like, well, are you getting ready to do any service? I was like, yeah, I'm going to go pack my bearings. He says, well, when you do so, he says, do me a favor. He says, pull one of the bolts out. He goes, for your existing spring. He goes, just kind of let me know what you see. So I went home, packed my bearings, did exactly what he said, pulled that bolt out, looked at it, and the bronze bushing inside was completely wore out. And so once I determined that, I decided to go ahead and do the install on my own for the Comfort Ride system.
So as far as, okay, this is your own driveway, you did this yourself.
Yeah, it's actually at a campground in Needles, California.
Okay. How bad was it to do?
So typically, we normally suggest for a double axle, 8 hours, for triple axle, 10. In this case, because I'm very familiar with the product and I do it quite often, I was actually able to do it in under 8 hours.
Okay. And as far as the kit, obviously we have a triple axle here, so you have the two boxes. Does it also come with the shocks?
So the shock absorbers are separate, but a complete kit will be the slipper spring, the slipper spring box, and then you add the shock kit to it. And basically what happens is we're looking at upwards of 80% increase in rideability for that trailer.
Okay. And then as far as choosing a Comfort Ride, say someone's kind of landed that they want to get the Comfort Ride, how do they determine which kit is right for them?
So if they wanted to look at which kit's going to be proper for them, so we have the shock kit, which is separate from the slipper spring kit. What we need to know is diameter of the axle, okay? So once we determine the diameter of the axle, that gives you the proper shock kit, and then what we need to know is the weight capacity of the spring. And once we have those two, we can set you up with the proper kit.
Okay. Now, living with it, a lot of times with suspension, people go, okay, it's a decent amount of money to be putting in this, a little bit of work to get it installed. Does it really make a difference?
It makes a night and day difference, especially when you're towing. You'll notice that you don't get the excessive wag out of your trailer when you're driving down the road, especially if you're hitting bumps or potholes. You're going to notice that there's a lot less energy being transferred into your coach. So a lot of times people notice, hey, I got screws that are starting to back out, or I'm starting to have to seal my coach more often. Because we're absorbing all that extra energy down here with the shock absorbers, we're noticing that that's not quite happening quite as frequently.
Now, there's definitely a lot of different options when it comes to, suspension enhancement, but why would someone want Roadmaster versus anything else that's out there?
Well, we are a U.S. manufacturer. We manufacture everything ourselves in Vancouver, Washington. If you ever get the opportunity to come on out, we'd love to give you a tour. But more importantly, I said we do manufacture all this in-house, so it is a made in the USA product. We're very proud to advertise that. But we also back it with a lifetime warranty because we are able to build the quality into the product.
And that's peace of mind. I mean, you one and done. Exactly. You buy it, you get to enjoy it. You know, the warranty is going to outlast the trailer more than likely, so that's pretty cool. So adding this comfort ride to a travel trailer is definitely going to enhance your driving experience, as more suspension is generally a good thing. You know, as you're towing down, your truck's going to be squatting and you have points that are going to pivot, but each of those points are potentials for it to get to be a little bit harsher ride. And factory suspension on travel trailers are, well, they're pretty old school to say the least.
Old school. Yeah, and this is a much better system.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, having slipper springs as well as the shocks, it's really going to give you, well, a comfortable ride.
Yeah, and we're giving the customer independent suspension axle to axle.
Which is awesome. Yeah, and that's really using, you know, newer technology and putting it into stuff that should have caught up by now, but it's great that this is an option. So, you know, if you're really hauling quite a bit, you're not happy with the way that it goes down the road, this is going to be a great option for not only your trailer, but all the contents inside of it.
Exactly.
And as far as the installation goes, if this is something that's maybe beyond your scope, you don't have the place to do it, the tools to do it, or even the want to do it, you can use our dealer locator. And that way you can find someone close to your area to get this installed for you. Huge thanks to Jeff taking a second to give us a little bit of insight into the comfort ride from Roadmaster.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you.